Have you ever opened a document, looked at a blank page and thought, I know I need to write, so why can't I start? If that has happened to you before, you're not alone. Writer's block is one of the most common struggles in academic writing. It shows up in our essays, literature reviews, thesis, dissertation, in our research papers. And it is not only annoying, it can delay your work, increase your stress levels, and make writing feel much harder than it actually is. So in this video, I want to show you a better way to understand writer's block, a practical way to get unstuck, and why AI tools can really be useful in your writing process. Let's dig in. So what really is writer's block? The first thing you need to understand is that writer's block is usually not just about having bad ideas or no ideas at all. Most of the time, it is not even a sign that you're lazy. It is not a sign that you're bad at writing. Very often, writer's block is a process problem because writing is a combination of processes. When you write, you are usually doing several things at once. You are turning ideas into sentences and you are reviewing or judging what you just wrote, and that matters because many students try to do all at the same time. Try to think, draft, edit, and polish all in one sitting. That is where the process often starts to freeze because the brain usually gets overloaded. This is an important shift. The moment you stop seeing writer's block as a personal failure, you can start seeing it as a workflow problem. And workflow problems can be fixed. And there's a different layer to this, right? Writing barriers are cognitive and often emotional as well. Sometimes the problem is perfectionism. Sometimes it is the fear of getting it wrong. Sometimes it is a pressure to make every sentence sound intelligent on the first try. And sometimes, honestly, it is just mental fatigue. So when you're stuck, the question is not what is wrong with me? The better question is which part of the writing process is overloaded right now? Is it a planning? Do you still know what to say? Is it a sentence generation? Do you know the idea but cannot get words out? Is it a revision? Are you editing so much that you cannot move forward? That is a much better question and a much better way to diagnose a problem, because once you identify what is overloaded, you can respond to the real issue. So let's highlight some of the most effective ways to get unstuck. One is to break the writing task into smaller parts, right? This sounds simple, but it is one of the powerful ways to unstuck yourself during the writing process. Do not tell yourself, I need to write a paper. That is often too big of a task. Your brain hears that as one massive, heavy, undefined task. Instead, tell yourself, I need to write one paragraph explaining these results. Do not say, I need to finish the literature review. Say something like, I need to compare these two studies on one specific point. That shift changes the level of friction because when the task becomes smaller, it becomes easier to begin. And starting is usually the hardest part. A lot of people think they need motivation first, but in writing, momentum often comes after starting, not before it. So reduce the size of the task until it feels almost too small to resist. That is often the move that gets you back into motion. The next strategy here is one of the most important. Separate drafting from judging. This is where many writers get trapped. They try to write sentences and evaluate it at the exact same time. So they type few words, stop, delete, rewrite, second guess the phrasing, question the argument, and then lose all the momentum. This is usually an overload problem. A better workflow is usually planning briefly, draft forward, revise later. That sequence works better because each stage asks your brain to do something different. Planning is one task, drafting is another task, editing is another task, and when you force them to happen all at once, writing starts to feel heavy, slow, and frustrating. But when you separate them, the process becomes lighter. Not perfect, but lighter. And lighter is often enough to help you keep moving. So the next strategy is asking yourself, how can AI tools be helpful in this process? Remember, AI should always support the writing process, not replace the writer's judgment. That distinction matters because in academic writing, the thinking still has to be yours. The argument still has to be yours. The responsibility still has to be yours. But AI can still be helpful at specific moments. For example, One feature I find truly useful is Jenni AI's autocomplete feature. If you're new to Jenni AI is an academic writing tool that helps you polish your writing at every stage of the research process. If I'm in the middle of a paragraph and I know roughly what I want to say, but I cannot get a text sentence moving, a sentence level suggestion can help restart the momentum. And that is the key value. Not that it writes for you, but it helps you get moving again. Sometimes the hardest part of writing is not a whole argument. It is just the sentence, the next particular sentence. And when that next sentence appears, even as a suggestion, it can reduce the friction enough for you to continue on your own. What I like about this approach is that it keeps control with the writer. You can read a sentence, reject it, regenerate it, rewrite it, or ignore it completely. That is how AI should function in academic writing, as support, not substitution. So if your writing is stuck right now, here's a simple sequence to try. First, define the smallest next unit of work. Not the whole chapter, not the whole paper, just the next paragraph, the next comparison, the next explanation, or the next transition. Second, draft without over-editing. Let the first version be rough. Let it be incomplete. Let it move. Third, revise only after momentum returns. Do not interrupt every sentence with judgment. And fourth, if you're still stuck, use a sentence level AI suggestion with a tool like Jenni AI to restart your momentum. Then take control of the writing yourself again. That is a far more effective workflow. So writer's block is real, but very often it is not proof that you cannot write. It is a sign that the task is too large, the process is overloaded, or the mental demands that are colliding at the same time. And when you adjust workflow, writing often starts moving again. That is the good news. If this video helped you, let me know in the comment section. What block you most in academic writing? The starting, the structuring, or the revising? And remember to subscribe for more research-backed strategies to help you write with more clarity, more confidence, and less overwhelm.